Anytime a man falls in love with a woman deeply, to the point that they're willing to let go of their friends, move to another country, be able to give you anything that you want, give you princess treatment, commit to you, all of those things all of those guys have one thing in common. Their ego was dissolved. When you get with someone, in order to truly become obsessed and in love with them, you have to let go of your ego. You have to let go of your plans. You have to make this person the center of your life, not your ego. And there are a few ways to do that. And the women that know how to decenter him and how to make him prioritize them by destroying his ego are the ones that makes a man fall in love. It's the reason why Drake is still obsessed with Rihanna. It's the reason why a lot of exes keep coming back to you and you're like, why the fuck do they keep coming back? It's because you most likely destroy their ego. Now, there are two ways to do it. There is the heaven way of applying this strategy, and then there's a Bronx toxic way of applying these strategies. So sit back and relax, and I'm gonna show you the two ways to destroy a man's ego. One way is you're going to hell, and the next way you're going to heaven. Okay? And don't forget, if you guys enjoy this type of content, check out my courses. I have a lot of courses that relate to these types of videos. For today's video, the course that relates to it the most is the feminine woman and the natural chemistry. Okay, you can purchase those courses in the description down below. And one of my paintings got sold, people. Yo, those threats are working, man. So you know what? If nobody buys another painting by today, I'm closing the channel. Okay, I'm closing the channel. So this is how you save the channel. We have this painting right here, and this uses the Leonardo da Vinci sfumato technique, but with pastels, right? We're gonna frame it today also. It's a really beautiful painting, and you're never gonna find a painter who does pastels who paints like this in this style. We have the Frida Kahlo one. We're raising this one to 1,500 because I'll be honest with you, I can't. It just took too much work to sell for 1,000. So this is gonna be 1,500. Yeah, this is with watercolor and gouache. And these are the more affordable ones. These are done by my students. This is the Leonardo da Vinci painting in oil. It's literally done in my style by my student and guided by me. And this is $300. If you purchase it, I'll send it to you and stuff like that. And if anybody wants to take painting classes with me in Mexico, I charge $1,000 to teach you guys this method. You guys can literally learn from me directly. And I'll teach you guys how to do this in 1 week. Doesn't matter your painting experience, okay? So you can do that now by clicking on the description down below. You can support my channel, support my art, and keep the channel open, all right? Anyways, don't forget, let's continue with the video. So the first way is you gotta understand, when people fall in love, your ego has to get dissolved. It has to get dissolved. You have to, because you're meeting someone halfway, right? The only way that it doesn't get dissolved is if you are in the toxic hell section of the video, and obviously it comes down to you dissolving the other person's ego without you having to do nothing. You guys literally become like Majin Buu, where you take up the person's energy and they become you, but you don't become any of them. You don't learn any of their traits, okay? So the first thing is having soft critiques, right? And with warm, non-Bronx move starts, okay? And I've been talking about this a lot in this channel, but essentially, when you're meeting people, you're never gonna be perfect together. It's never gonna be like a perfect compatibility. You literally wiggle your way to compatibility. You talk about the things that you guys like and don't like, and you find a way to compromise. And that type of compromise is the type of compromise that eventually, like I always talked about, creates an upward spiral where you guys end up falling in love with each other because you guys start to respect each other. You guys realize that, you know what, anytime I bring something up with this person, they're very open about it and they don't get defensive. And they also feel the same way. You pretty much, and this is what they call, you pretty much, oh shit, people, stress test the relationship. You stress test it, okay? Oh my God, Father, can't say stress. Shut the fuck up, okay? So that's the first thing. And the key here is warm starts. Because if you don't have a warm start, like we're gonna talk about in the Bronx section, I'm gonna call that area the Bronx. If you don't have a warm start, it could put somebody defensive, okay? And eventually this eventually makes you compatible over the long term. You don't start out perfect. you squiggle your way into perfection, right? And it comes down to, and it's very similar to conflict and compromise. You don't just you don't just critique, but that you both are gonna have things that you don't agree with. You're gonna fight. Like if you don't fight people, like if you don't, have arguments and stuff like that, then you guys are never really gonna grow, never really gonna get to know each other. So that's the first thing: conflict and compromise. And this is what they call makeup sex, right? This is what, and the beauty about the conflict is that it creates a natural distance. It creates natural distance. There are gonna be things that I'm gonna annoy you with, and that you're gonna annoy me. This is how that works. The next one is having a spiritual practice together. Right? You both dissolve each other's ego through through having a spiritual practice, praying together, meditating together, having a ritual. And sometimes it may not even be spiritual. It could just be you guys go to therapy with someone. But the point is you both have some form of what I like to call introspection. Actually, that's what it's called, introspection. And this practice is mutual, where you both introspect each other, where you both ask yourselves, what are the goals that you guys have? What do you have for the future? What are your goals for this year? How, like, you guys almost help each other out in life, okay? And this causes the other person to want to help you. This causes the other person to forget about themselves and focus on you, because when you have a greater goal, when you both envision a greater goal, like, and this is actually a long-term goal together, when you envision having a greater goal together, your ego gets dissolved. It's like in military. One of the military management, one of the things about them is that the way to get a person to forget about themselves is to have them focus on the group. Have them have the fighters fight a few wars together and win, right? Find some easy wins so that they could develop a group mentality. And above all, having an enemy, right? Having an enemy that they both hate and that they're fighting. And so sometimes also having an enemy is something that really helps. Having an enemy unites countries, right? And sometimes the enemy might be not being together. Sometimes the enemy might be not being toxic. Sometimes the enemy is that the fact that you guys are proud that you guys are able to have healthy discussions, right? You guys take pride in healthy discussions, pride in not going Bronx mode. And that sometimes is enough. The next one is leaving after disrespect. Again, we're all, listen, the most healthy couple is going to disrespect each other eventually. Don't ruin the relationship by tolerating it and not making them pay a price. I don't care who you are. If somebody disrespects you, you have to pull away. You have to, even if you guys find a way to resolve it, you still do it to prove a point. Anybody that loves you will let you do that. Anybody that loves you will say, you know what? I love this person. I'm not gonna get in her way. If she wants to take a quick break while she thinks about this shit, then that's fine. She deserves that. Why? Because sometimes people need to show us that they also value themselves, right? And if your ego is so much, she's putting me in my place, that's not a healthy relationship. Sometimes when you fuck up, you gotta let them put you in your place, right? Because we all make mistakes, man, And as long as they don't have ill will, as long as they have good intentions, it's no big deal. Now the last one is vulnerability. Right, vulnerability. Now vulnerability is pretty much, it's what people fall in love with. It's the side of your personality that people find endearing. It's the side of your personality that people want to help. It's your inner child. It's the desire for them to hold you. It's when you feel depressed and they can't stand seeing you sad. It's when they see you lose your cat or a fucking pet dies and they feel compelled to want to help you. It's the desire to see you succeed because they don't want to see you fail. It's the sense that they can sense your fears in life. They can sense you want to be a successful artist. They can sense that you are afraid of the future. And they feel a compelling desire to comfort you, a compelling desire to tell you that everything's going to be okay, right? And that increases a person's desire for you, because think about it. When you have lust for someone, a sexual desire, but also you have a deep sense of empathy, that's love. I mean, eventually the lust goes away, but it's a sense of familiarity. It's a sense that I see you as a family, and you develop that through vulnerability, right? So you might say, oh my God, but how does that destroy his ego? Well, because eventually he has to stop focusing on himself. It's like when you have a kid, you eventually stop focusing on yourself and you start focusing on that weird ass kid, right? So that's what happens. And so it becomes, and what the goal should be is for it to be a symbiotic relationship, meaning that he also feels vulnerable with you and you also feel vulnerable with him, and you guys lift each other up, right, through this type of vulnerability. Okay, so that's the first one, right? It's all about soft criticism, conflict and compromise, spiritual practice, which can sometimes, which it's pretty much anything that brings self-awareness. Long-term goals in order to forget about the short-term, meaning the ego thrives in tomorrow. It thrives in now, right? So your higher self thrives in the future, in 1 year from now, 2 years from now. Only your higher self is able to see that far, right? And so when you have desires for yourself that are selfish, that it's all about you, and you don't include someone else, your desires narrows the scope of your vision. You're not able to see far and wide. And this causes your ego to expand with it, right? So that's one thing. And above all, vulnerability, right? And if you're afraid to be vulnerable, well, then that's something you got to work on. And if you don't know how to do that, well, you guys can check out my course, Emotional Mastery, which is a course that I created to help you guys practice meditation, the type of meditation that increases vulnerability, okay? You can purchase it in the description down below. If you don't do that, I'm gonna have to close the channel, okay? All right, so we're in the Bronx, people. Oh, fuck me. Oh, Lord. All right, people. This is bad. All right. Okay, let me see. Shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go back to the art store because okay, everything's good. All right, the painting's good. Oh my God. Oh, Lord, this is. It happened in real time, people. This is a painting I was supposed to send. It's still good, thank God. I'm just gonna have to get the what you call it? The glass, but everything's good. I sold this painting. Oh Lord. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go to Office Max and get it. But yeah, people, this is a painting that I sold. Oh my God, Father Alex he's crashing now. Shut the fuck up, okay? I sold this painting, and yeah, people, this is. Oh God, Jesus Christ, people. This is yeah, you know what? Let's just start with the video because this is getting ridiculous. If you guys want to purchase my paintings, just click on the description down below where it says, you see it in the comment section where it says purchase my paintings. All right, let's begin. So, okay, the first one is this, okay? Man, these are expensive ass fucking chalk. Okay, so this is the going to hell section, all right? Lord have mercy, I forgot which one this is. People, I'm tired of giving myself these tests. I always think I give myself, like, I always give myself like a thing, but let's start with this. Harsh criticism. Now, you gotta be careful with this because these strategies only work on guys that have low self-esteem. So, if you do this on someone and they have some sense of value, some sense of self-esteem, they're not going to want you to do this. But harsh criticism is all about criticizing something that's real, something that they mess up in, and criticize them harshly. Then you pull away. What it does is that it diminishes the person's ego. It diminishes the person's ego. If they feel like shit, you criticize them, pull away for like a day or so, and then return and act like nothing happened. This is the type of stuff that causes people to fall in love with their employee, with their boss. It's what causes people to fall in love with a toxic therapist. Harsh criticism that's based on something real, but that is extra spicy, hurts the ego, and it causes people to feel horrible. And sometimes they feel embarrassed. And in that low self-esteem, they'll come back to you. They'll apologize. And what will happen is that the next time you do it, it may not be right, but they don't want to see that angry side of you. And this works, especially, if you're hot and cold. Hot and cold, right? Where one day you're happy and the next day you're a little cold and distant, right? And especially if you have a great, happy personality, people will crave to see that happy side. And they'll be afraid to see that cold side. And that will cause people to be very careful and then essentially walk on eggshells with you. Okay? And that, honestly, if you do this, you're going to help. I'm just going to let you guys know, you're going to help. Because, it actually goes with push and pull. Push, pull, push and pull. It's pretty much where one day you want them, one day you're distant. I remember this girl used to do that to me, and I wasn't aware. It just shows you how bad I was when I was younger. Where she would do that, and she would sit like across the room, and she wouldn't sit close to me. And I'm like, why the fuck is she so distant today? You know? And then another day she'd be close and affectionate, and then she'll do that for like a few days, and then go back to being cold. After a while, I figured out that this bitch is crazy. But I do remember the emotions it gave me. It felt weird. I didn't like that feeling. It wasn't a good feeling. It was a feeling of insecurity. I didn't feel comfortable. I liked her, but it was more so my insecurities acting out. Somebody triggered me, right? And that, I remember it would ruin my day when she would act cold. And it causes you to actually want to do things to see them happy. All right, you got to be careful with these, because this type of stuff will cause a guy like me to chase you, and you don't want that. You know, you don't want Father Alex chasing. It's creepy, right? Now the next one is compare and compete. Compare and compete. Compare them to someone in your past. You don't even need to compare them to someone in the past. Compare them to someone who today they can't match up with. Somebody who's better than them or something. So it could be that if they're white and skinny, compare them to, always talk about your favorite celebrity being Michael B. Jordan or some big old black guy, right? If they're older, if they're an old man, always talk about how you love this athlete, or you love that athlete, or you love that new athlete. This is the type of stuff that makes a guy's ego diminish. And it'll cause a guy to then do anything for you, because your validation then increases his ego. You want to be able to diminish the ego, which then gives you the power to increase his ego. If you're able to inflict pain, you're also able to produce pleasure, right? Fuck this one. I think inflict pain. Any form of pain, any form of disappointment, any form of suffering. It could be waiting. It could be that you're not considerate. It could be that you canceled a date last minute. Anything that makes them feel pain. That type of stuff causes a guy to chase and to forget about his ego. You know what it does to them? It forces them to break their own rules. And that's the thing. Because they feel so much pain inside. So much pain inside, that they're willing to break their own rules for you. That the ego lessens. But again, you gotta be careful, because when you destroy his ego is looking for any moment to destroy you. Egos have a long memory. And above all, make them pay a price. So what you do is you find something to criticize, or let's just say they disrespect you, and you criticize them harshly on it. You know, they disrespect you, and you just criticize the shit out of them, and then you pull away. And once you pull away, you let them come back, and then once they try to come back, you don't let them come back. You say, I don't like what you did that one time. Are you willing to make it up to me? And if they're not willing to make it up, you let them go back home. If they're willing to make it up, then just say, you know what? I want you to lick my ass. That's not a metaphor. Do I shower? I don't know. You find out. You're gonna have to lick my ass. You're gonna have the sweet taste of ass in your mouth. Next time you try to pull that shit on me, you're gonna have the sweet taste of ass, and hopefully that deters you. A lot of people might say that's cruel. Where are we right now? We're in the Bronx, people. We're in the health section, people. Shit could fall on you at any moment. This is the Bronx, all right? And what it does is that I'll be honest with you, I never done this because it's evil. One time, but she liked it. Not the licking ass part, Jesus Christ, not that part. But you know what I mean, like she clearly, like, you know, she was really late. I'll be honest with you. I was like, yo, you have to make it up. She was like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, what are you willing to do? She's like, anything. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is not toxic, right? Oh, you make them pay a price, and that price is their ego. They're gonna be like, I can't believe I can't believe I licked their ass. That's crazy, you know. And you can bring that up if they fuck up. You're like, I'm gonna tell your friends you licked my ass, right? So I remember, inflict pain, harsh criticism, push pull, hot and cold behavior. Make them pay a price. Make them lick that ass. It could be anything actually. Make them run a mile, anything. Compare them to someone and make them compete for your attention. Right. So that's the hell section, and the good section. This is for all the believers out here. You have soft criticism, conflict and compromise, having a spiritual practice. This is so that you guys can be a little bit more logical about this. Any spiritual practice that allows you to think more logically. Long-term goals, because the long-term destroys the short-term ego. Leaving after disrespect, you got to show them that you're willing to walk away as healthy as the relationship is. And vulnerability. This is what causes people to want to protect you, to want to help you, to want to be there for you. Okay? Now, you gotta understand is that these strategies work, but be careful doing this too much. All right? Relationships are, you have good relationships when you have a good mindset, you know? Like, how the hell do you think people had a lot of toxic relationship in the past, but you're wired to have a good relationship if you have a good emotional immune system, right? If you have good self-esteem, if you're able to regulate your emotions, you're gonna be able to do this the right way. It's only when you can't control your emotions, when you're super needy and creepy, when you can't self-regulate, that you start selling your self-esteem for validation. The validation is pretty much make me feel good. Since you can't do that, you gotta lower your price of yourself, of your ego, of who you are, so that somebody can soothe it and make you feel better. When you're able to self-soothe, you realize you don't need them that much. And so you raise your price. And so it emanates and it comes across as somebody who has high confidence and high self-esteem. And it's truly something that that a lot of people, you know, when they say, how do you develop self-esteem? How do you develop self-respect? Well, I say that just increase your capacity to self-regulate. Learn how to make yourself feel good without a person's validation. You'll notice this becomes extremely easily, okay? Okay, people, so anyways, y'all saw that shit, man. My fucking painting fell. I swear to God, man, I've been doing some dumb shit sometimes. Don't forget, we're selling our paintings here, people. And, you know, I'm doing that hustle, that painting hustle. You can purchase them in the description down below where it says, purchase my painting. And if you guys want to learn how to develop self-respect, you guys can check out my course, Emotion on the Feminine Woman. It's a course on how to develop, like, how can I say it? It's a course on how to develop emotional resilience, how to mix the masculine and the feminine, and pretty much how to develop higher self-esteem, how to set goals. I mean, people have said that it's my best course. It's really my best course. Like one of my clients told me yesterday, it's pretty much a course on how to be a human. And it pretty much is. And it'll allow you to tap into your inner power. And the next course that I recommend is the Natural Chemistry, which is a course on how to develop boundaries, on how to be more emotionally resilient, how to have healthy relationships without going straight to hell or going to the Bronx, right? Or you can purchase all of my courses in a bundle and join the Mindful Attraction University by clicking on the description down below, okay? And anyways, take care. Bye-bye.